Good morning, my friends. Today I'm going to show you all how I do my daily baby jumping spider maintenance and upkeep. The biggest reason why I wanted to make this video is because I had some requests from other people in the jumping spider communities asking, what did I do? How am I figuring things out? And was asked to, kind of make a summary of my care process and just kind of how I've navigated this journey so far. So I figured making kind of a little video that just encompasses everything all together might be the best way to do that for my peers. And yeah, so here we are. The backstory here is that back in October I rescued an injured jumping spider from trying to survive in my car, and I have had her ever since, and she's been thriving and doing great. She was already a mature female of her species when I found her, so that means she didn't have any molts left. I didn't know how long I was going to have her. Any day could be her last. So I've had her for the last just over 6 months, and a couple of weeks ago she did exactly what I hoped she would do before passing on, which she still hasn't. She's doing great. But she had babies. And I'm very, very happy about it. Since I knew there was a possibility that she could be carrying viable eggs, I had already kind of started researching like what to do if you have slings and how to take care of them, all the stuff and things. So I had a little bit of like preparedness kind of going on already. Full disclaimer, I am not a biologist, zoologist, an entomologist, or any other kind of ist related to the animal kingdom. I am a dance teacher. However, I have always had a big fondness for life of all kinds, and this is not the first rabbit hole of exotic pet keeping I've gone down. I also raise moths and dubia roaches, both of which are feeders for our reptiles. I have a mantis. Little bit of personal prior experience, but none of it professional. I have, however, been in touch with the local breeder that I got some of my other jumpers from, and she is going to be adopting some of the babies as well to further research the species, which I'm really excited about because there's not a lot of information out there on them. Like I said, she was a local rescue, so her species, she's not a regal, she's not a bull, she is a Phanias harfordi, which did take me a long time to kind of narrow down that ID, and part of my journey in raising these babies is also just researching what their lifespan and behavioral habits and stuff like that are like, and seeing if I can just kind of contribute a little something back to the community that helped me pretty much conquer my arachnophobia at this point. This book, Common Spiders of North America, if you live in North America, obviously, this has been a great resource in helping me learn how to identify all different kinds of spiders, what makes them in, certain families, like how, what makes a wolf spider, what makes a jumping spider, what makes tarantulas and trapdoor spiders not true spiders, things like that, as well as, what to look for in terms of body language, what's a threat posture, what is calm and relaxed, what is a mating display look like, different types of webs, what kinds of spiders build space-filling webs versus, intricate, like orb weaver webs and stuff like that. And it's been a real game changer in my ability to identify and just have a lot less uncertainty around the existence of these beautiful creatures that once terrified me to my core. And I'm a really big advocate for education over fear. So if you are like me and you are trying to conquer your severe arachnophobia and deeply seated just petrification of being around them unexpectedly, I hope that you can get something out of this that helps start to make that journey a little bit more smooth for you. So the first thing that you're going to want to have ready when you have slings coming is sling enclosures. What I did to make mine was I purchased 1-ounce deli cups. Now, as I mentioned, her species is not a commonly kept one, and she's like a max 6-7 millimeters long, so they run on the smaller side compared to like bulls and regals, things that people more commonly have or are more commonly captively bred. So if you have a species that runs a little bit bigger, you might want to think about a 2-3 ounce deli cup, something just on the slightly larger side. But I'm not expecting these guys to get super big super quickly, so I went with a 1 ounce for them, and it's been more than enough space. As you can see, I have this upside down because since jumpers are arboreal spiders, you don't want to be constantly taking the lids off of where they've made their hammocks and stuff. So keeping them upside down is better for their webbing style, but they do roam around on the bottom too. My little guy is down on the bottom right now. I took the opportunity to number the bottoms of my cups as I made them, so that 1, I could keep track of how many I had made, and 2, when it came time to start sorting them out, I could do it in numerical order and better keep track of the individual slings that way. I have been keeping a little journal of behavior, just habits, you know, who's coming out when, dating everything, what kind of food has been offered, which ones have been eating, so on and so forth. So having the numbers on the cups is really helpful in terms of tracking the wellness of all of them. As of today, I have 12 slings that have already been transferred into cups over the last 2 weeks or so. And as of right now, I can see at least 4 more that are on the outside of their enclosure and will be transferred into cups today. So we're starting to approach 20. And so far all of them are still alive, all of them are eating well. Their growth has been pretty consistent. It's not much, but it is noticeable when you consider how small they really are when they first emerge. So here we have Phanias's enclosure, where the babies are coming from, and she is inside a larger butterfly net enclosure so that when they come out, because they can fit out of those 1 millimeter vent holes, they're not going any further. However, they also don't like to wander too far, and I haven't even seen any of them fully leave the acrylic. They just kind of wander around the top and the sides, but they do sleep at night, and I've seen them go back into the nests. So I don't know if you can see a couple here on the edges. There's one right there on the corner. There's another one on the little lip over there. There's a few more that are, there's one on the back corner over there as well. Hello. So today I'm going to be transferring the ones that are hanging out on the outside of the enclosure into their own deli cups. I debated whether or not I was going to do it right away because some jumping spider species do fairly well communally, at least in the early stages. And since there's not a lot of research on this species, I didn't know if that was going to be the case or not. However, the first time I saw more than one on the outside of the enclosure, I noticed aggressive behavior amongst them already, you know. And that is a sign that they could start to become cannibalistic pretty soon, and so I decided better to separate them pretty much immediately. So that's what I've been doing, and it has seemed to be the best option so far. All right, today we're gonna start with rehousing the ones that have left the nest, and then we will go on to our daily maintenance of the rest of them. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is I have a small thing of pre-torn paper towel strips, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pre-soak them with my spray bottle. And then that way, as I move them into their enclosures, I can just, instead of having to do them individually each time. All right. Let's go. We need 13, 14, 15, and 16. I see at least 4. All right. as I remove the enclosure from the butterfly net, I make sure that as I'm picking it up, there's no slings around the area that I'm grabbing. And then I just set it right in front of me. And got one here, there's one over here, got one up here. Let's see where the other ones go. And one down there. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Oh, and a 5th one. Alright, starting with number 13. So we're gonna pop the bottom off of the enclosure cup. See, this stays boing, 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 stuck on the top. I'm going to prep my fruit flies that I'm offering to them, and I have this little half of a closed straw that I inserted into a hole I made in the lid. I tap a few into there, pinch it off. I put my little stopper over the top of my lid here to keep extras from escaping, which they still do sometimes. And then I use a clamp to hold shut the far end of the tube so that as I deploy 1 or 2 into each cup, they are not falling the rest of the way out of the tube. All right, so we're gonna take number 13 here. I'm gonna take my paintbrush and we're going to just, hey buddy, oh, can you go the other way for me? Can you turn around? Back. It's funny because, hey, good job. All right, so we got one in there. Go down a little bit further. And I try to tap them towards the bottom of the cup initially. Then I will grab a couple of these guys. Tap, 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 get them in there, and then I try to work pretty quickly. I mean, I'm not rushing, but, oop, come here, oop, I take one of my wetted pieces of paper towel, lay it over the top, grab my lid, press it on, and then I flip it over and I check that everyone's in, and we're good to go. All right, number 13 in the bag. All right, moving back on to daily maintenance. So what I do is I first check to see where in the cup the slings are. And the nice thing about those that have had their first meal, their first hunt meal, is that their translucent little abdomens start to get, I don't know if you can see it, this very faint red color. So they're a lot more noticeable after they've eaten a fruit fly or two. So I look where they are first, then I pop the lid off, and I will go in and generally remove the dead carcasses. Some of them sometimes aren't the most accessible, and I don't worry too much about it because it's just a little fruit fly body and whatnot, but I try to do as much upkeep as possible so they're not building up over time. So I'll shake that one off of the lid, and then I will go in with my little tweezers and gently pull out the, where's Bud? There we go. Pull out the carcasses left behind of the already eaten meals, which are great. It's really great to see a strong feeding response so early in them. And so then I'll go in, I will give their paper towel a few spritzes, and then I will drop in a fresh fruit fly or 2 if they don't have any still living ones in there with them. At the sling stage, they are eating a little bit more frequently, so I like to make sure there's always at least one in there for them to go after if they get hungry for it. So there you have it. That is how I do my daily sling maintenance, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has. Send them my way, and the next thing I'm going to go over is kind of the next step along the same journey, and that is how to escape-proof an adult enclosure one of the kit enclosures that has some gaps and stuff that are known for juveniles and slings escaping, and kind of how to prep and avoid that. So yeah, stay tuned.